Hi guys, welcome to another writing mini lesson. I'm excited about today's lesson because it is all about writing lists. And so today's anchor chart is going to be called For the Love of Lists. And so I'm a list person. I like to keep lists. And today's goal for you is to make a list and write from your list. So before we begin talking about types of lists you can write, let's just talk about why people even make lists. So one reason someone might make a list is to remember things. For example, if I'm going to the grocery store and I try to remember all 25 things that I need in my head, I'm probably going to forget something. But if I make a list either on paper or on my phone, I can check it off as I go. So I like to make a grocery list, or you could even make a to-do list. Like if I know I have a big project coming up, I could make a list, break it up into parts of things I need to do in order to accomplish getting that big project done. Another thing you can do to remember by making a list is to treasure things, to treasure memories or items. You can keep a list like that. So we know that one reason people keep a list is to remember. A second reason people keep a list is to order things, or in other words, to organize things. So for example, you could do a top 10 list, like your top 10 favorite songs or your top 10 movies that you've watched during quarantine. You can also order your list from worst to best, which a lot of these top 10 lists do. So let's say you've watched 10 movies or you've played 10 different video games during quarantine. You can list them starting with the worst one that you watched or played during quarantine all the way down to the absolute best. Okay, so these are the two reasons why people usually make lists, and here were some examples. Let's talk about how you get some choice in how you make your lists. So if you want to keep your list short and sweet, you don't want to do a top 10 list, you want to do maybe 2 or 3 things on your list. That's fine, you have that option. You could also do an ongoing list, which means the list isn't done, you're adding things to it continuously. So for example, if I'm reading books right now, which I am, I keep adding on a book to my list as I finish reading it. So that way I can look back on 2020 and see exactly what books I read. Okay, so another choice you have is to either make your list with numbers, or if you're wanting to do bullet points instead, you can do that. So those are some choices you have as you're making your list. Now, let's talk about some ideas for what you could write your list about. You could write a list about things that you are looking forward to doing when we are back in school. You could write a list of all the things that you are grateful for. And maybe you're not feeling so positive right now. Maybe instead you would rather write about things that you miss. And sure, that might be kind of a sad list, but I have found that when I'm sad or I'm angry or upset, writing it down helps me process those feelings, and I usually kind of feel better, even if it's just a little bit, after I've written that. So maybe you could write a list about things you miss right now while you're in quarantine. And of course, you can keep a list of the books that you are reading. I hope you're out there reading. I know I am. I just put some books on hold at the public library that I'm going to pick up later this week, and you can do that too. So today is all about the love of lists. And so your goal for today is to make a list or 2 or 3, and you're going to choose something from your list and you're going to write about it. Okay? So if you have any questions, send me a message on eLearning, and I look forward to seeing your lists, and let's get out there and write today.